Please, who obviously didn't go well for him.
Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick here from a rather chilly early morning Sydney, Australia. We have two lovely guests. We're going to have a few more as well. Tabashis is coming on. He was with me only minutes ago. And oh, hello, Tabashis missed call, so I'll just confirm what's going with Tabashis. Actually, Tabashis should be here.
So, Dipsy, where are you at present?
I'm from Hyderabad in India.
Oh, right. So that's where you're coming from?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. Some of Norman's guests live all over the place. They live in California.
But they have.
Yeah.
Would you believe I forgot to send Tabashis the link to the show? No wonder he's not here. Okay. Yeah. So before I got really interrupted by the message, we have both Dipti Sarakonda from India. Now, what part of India again is from? You are from?
Hyderabad.
Hyderabad, of course. Hence why you're a Sunrise Hyderabad fan.
Yeah, as well as Royal Challengers Bangalore, both of them.
But you're real.
You can't speak two sides at once.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is something that a lot of people ask me, but I say I can. And
all right.
Yeah.
No, quite right. There's nothing wrong with it.
So we have both Dipti and we have David Graveney, who is not from India. Just in case you were not sure, he's not from India. He's actually from England. He was the chairman of selectors at the English Cricket Board, and he knows the Curran family very well. And I'm going to be asking about Tom today in particular.
Yeah.
But more importantly, David was reciting a story. That's why we're 5 minutes late, because David was reciting a very interesting story about, well, the relationship, of course, to Prince Philip, and now, more importantly, the relation to Princess Diana. Can you just retell your story, David, to everyone?
Right. Princess Diana, for a period of time, was patron to Gloucestershire, which was the county that I played for. Her own family were actually quite involved with cricket. Her father was patron of Northampton Cricket Club. So it was not unusual for her to be involved. She obviously was a very young girl at that stage. And the connection was that when she became patron, I happened to have gone to school with Prince Charles's equerry, who tragically died in a skiing accident. So we had a bit of a connection then. As it transpires, our respective children are exactly the same age. So William and Harry, the same age as my two. So during a period of time that she was certainly part of living in Gloucestershire, we had a number of events and had the privilege of sitting next to her at dinner. And then I went off and played for somebody else, played for Durham for 3 years. And then tragically she died. And I can remember the night that happened, because I was on the day after, we had to select a touring party to go to the West Indies. And it was an extraordinary weather on that morning. It was like the end of the world, like sort of really dark. I choose my words carefully, not to saying it's biblical, but it would just seem really, really odd weather. Pouring rain and whatever. And I must admit, we all sat around the table and thought, what are we doing here? You know, this is not the time to do this. The whole country is in shock. So I went off and played. Sadly, she died. Well, tragically, she died. And I received, or my wife and I received, an invite to go to Westminster Abbey to the funeral. And as all the other organisations that were involved, including Gloucestershire, which was the county that I played for, were invited. So there were a number of players: Jack Russell, David Lawrence, people who played for England. And then we were standing outside Westminster Abbey, and our respective tickets had different colours around the trimming. And mine was different from the other lot. So I was then ushered into the front door of Westminster Abbey to a seat which was 2 from the front, and actually was positioned right next to the piano when Elton John was playing Candle in the Wind. So,
that's amazing.
And he had a big box of tissues, if that's any consolation. But it was an extraordinary event to be involved in. Yeah, it was. It was as if it was yesterday, basically. So.
Amazing.
So I've actually met Queen, met Prince Philip, and that I would have to say, Dipsy, the one thing that has upset me more than anything else. You know, all right, Prince Philip was 99 years old, but what did transpire is all the fantastic work he did in his life, which he's never had credit for. So, you know, it's a national event. TV changed its channels, and all the channels. 100,000 people phoned in to complain that they couldn't watch their soap opera that they would have watched on Friday afternoon. After a period of time, you lose faith in life after a while.
That's very, very sad. Thanks for reciting that story, David. Debashis, you've joined. Thank you very much. You missed part of what Dave was talking about regarding attending the funeral of Princess Diana, being next to the piano when Elton John was playing. And if you go to YouTube, David's very prominent in that. In fact, I thought you might have gotten up and started to play the piano yourself, David. You were so close.
I'm the one with the moustache, Debashis, if you want to know. And it's a few years ago. So.
Now, we're going to be talking very shortly about today's match, which was an absolute aberration. It was the crazy. You obviously watched the game, David, didn't you?
I watched bits of it, but I was actually, shows you how stupid you can be about sport. I was about to say, before that match was played, or even halfway through the match, why is everybody paying all this money to Chris Morris? What does he actually do? And that was halfway through the game. So
we
play the big bucks, and that's what happens. Because I've seen him play on lots of stages, whether it's South Africa or whatever, and he's probably a really nice guy, Norman or whatever. But I've never seen a level of performance that warrants the vast sums of money he gets paid to play in the IPL. But today it's pretty evident why he gets paid that money.
Well, I'm not sure how much money Tom Curran's on, but I'm concerned. Now, David, you're very close to Tom. You yourself have said that his form has not been great throughout the last so many matches. Today was also not a very good match for Tom Curran.
Yeah, well, he's a young man, Norman. You know, it's you're in the public eye, and you're just going from one game, not every other day, but you know the heat's on, and certainly when you're playing one-day internationals against the same opposition. That's not the IPL. Let's say England and India. If you start off badly in one of those tournaments, it's sometimes very difficult to get it back again. So
that's true. It's very true.
There's people, you know, that's one of the great mysteries of life, Norman. Players who say they never read the press, I think, might be telling a little bit of a fib when they say that. So he will be aware, directly, indirectly, that his position has been discussed quite a lot. So, you know, it's that moment of truth. You look yourself in the mirror, and there actually is a poem, and I don't know whether people have seen it, in the indoor school in Bangladesh, not Bangladesh, it's like Bangalore. As you walk into the entrance, there's a poem on the wall, which is the thrust of the poem is about. It's down to you. You've got to look yourself in the mirror, and you are the one person who will decide your destiny in life on a cricket pitch. There's no point searching for mistakes or for somebody to help you. You've got to deal with the problems yourself. And looking at yourself in the mirror every day, and the poem itself, it's not a great description, is absolutely perfect of what every player should look at.
Excellent.
And and Tom, well, this is, you know, everybody has crossroads in their lives about, you know, you've got a dip in form, everybody's writing me off, I'm going to fight back and I'm going to prove them wrong. And I know in Tom, he will be the same, and he'll be getting phone calls from his brother saying, come on, you can beat all the critics and all the doubters. Because everybody will have said the same thing.
True. You didn't hear me in the last show with Debashis at Extra Time. I was quite scathing. Not about Tom Curran, about the selectors and the way they put their team together. We'll get your thoughts in a minute, Deputy. and Devashis, but I need to make a major announcement. I haven't actually uploaded the video yet. Our commentator, our co-presenter, our co-guest, whatever you want to call, Chris Vernon, he'll be on, I think, tomorrow's show. The reason why he's not here today, do you want to know why? He was too busy playing at some little cricket venue. I think it's called Lords. In fact, he was playing his inaugural match at Lords. He was playing for the MCC South as opposed to MCC North. And we've got Barnstead Boy here, which is, he's online, and he's, in fact, of course, Chris's father. Now, I'm tempted not to reveal it because Chris is not here. And I have my little, I made a prediction with him as to what he would get on the day. And I wrote it on the back of you were there, weren't you? You were there, Buzz.
I was there.
Okay, I won't reveal that yet, but the reality is that he has opened the batting, scored a half century, 53 at Lords. I believe he started with a 6 and got his 50 with a 6. And I have video footage to prove. I'm trying to upload it. There's only one issue. When you upload all the videos together, they cut off the head. So I'm going to have to do individual videos, I think. The fact is that he got 53 on Lords in his inaugural game for the MCC South. And the video footage is fantastic. Him walking down the stairs as we described. I think, David, you described it with him, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it was a great moment. He's obviously extremely proud, and I'm sure he's going to talk all about it on Friday. So he's not here for that reason, a very good reason. And Barnstead Boy, his father...
I might be here on Friday, Norman, but because my daughter's changing house. But the one thing, if I'm not on it, I want you to ask the first question. What was the length of the boundary? Because normally they put these pitches right on the edge of the square. You could actually be fielding in the stands. They're that close.
Oh,
I think he was so far to the left of the members' pavilion, he could have shaken the hands with the front row people.
Yeah. So if he hit the 6 the other way, it's about 100 yards the other way. But hitting it up the hill would be about 10. So.
Don't worry, the story will get bigger and bigger when he tells it, I'm sure. But yeah, I do think the pitch was very far. What was that?
It's still, as I was saying the last time we were on together, was that he is walking in the same footsteps of players that are beyond belief. You know, who've made the same walk that he made from the dressing room out into the middle. So in the end, it doesn't really matter where they played the match. So.
Well, Barnstead Boy, of course, the father says it was a big hit and it was straight 6.
Straight
so there
6?
you go.
Oh, right. I take it all back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Barnstead Boy, Richard, as Chris's father, could not watch the match because there was no crowd allowed.
No,
which is so frustrating. Being the father of someone playing on there at Lords, not being able to go inside the ground, that would have been extremely frustrating. I'm sure. I saw on the video. Yes, I know, Barnstead.
Exchanged an email with a lady who works at Lords for the ECB, who get on really well with or whatever, who is basically now going on maternity leave within the next month. When she comes back, she wouldn't have gone into the office at Lords for 2 years. That has been the gap. That because the stands, the Compton and Edgeworth have been rebuilt. So forget COVID. There were a lot of things going on anyway. So.
That's true.
And as you can imagine, Norman, the security around somewhere like Lords has to be absolutely at the highest level. So.
And deservedly so. It's a sacred.
Yeah, but it's a great shame for Chris. That you always hope that people have more chances than one to play at Lords, and some people don't even have one. So at least he's got it. At least he's got a film of something happening like that. So that's great for him.
Absolutely.
But no doubt he'll be saying the bowlings were 100 miles an hour, mystery spinners. And he overcame them all. Did they actually win the game, Norman, or not?
Now, I don't know that. Barnstead Boy can tell us. I don't know what happened with the Barnstead Boy. Tell us in the messaging whether they won or lost. Whether we're stealing Chris's thunder a bit because he would like to talk about it, but it doesn't matter. So, Barnstead boy, tell us what was the result. Okay. So we'll find out. Yes, they did win the match. The word yes has been given. So they won the match. But I was joking earlier that he was playing for MCC South as to MCC North. I would have thought North was the better team to play. If you're going North, generally means you're in ascendancy. If you're going South, it means you're failing. But that's just my take on the North-South scenario.
Tends to be a few more MCC members in the South, Norman, than in the North.
Okay, all right. Ismooks is saying, and I don't like you, Ismooks, now. He says, Chris has pipped Norman's MCG stint. No way. The footage of me bowling is profound. All right. Let's go back.
Profound. I've never heard that. Nobody's ever said that to me about bowling. It's profound.
Maybe not profound. Okay, so admirable.
So I have to withdraw all the comments that I was about to make about Chris Morris as not being accurate. But, I think the tournament has been. I've been speaking to a lot of coaches, guys in this country, and the level of expertise that has been shown to date is off the radar. Some of the shot making has been phenomenal.
Absolutely. I better put another comment from Chris's dad. Chris took 2 for 20 as well. Chris took 2 for 20.
Just send a message from me. Did he run anybody out as well or not?
Yeah. Okay, Barnstead, we can actually talk to him. He can talk to Barnstead boys directly. Ask the question, David. Ask Richard.
Yeah, did he? Well, he's obviously been the best batter. He's the best bowler. Did he run people out at the same time? Yeah, he's just had a. Well, it's perfect.
No. The answer is no.
That's right.
All right. This is amazing. Okay, back to the game. This was one of the most awful batting efforts from both sides. Dipti, what was your perspective of today's game? What did you see?
First of all, this game is different from that of Chennai. In Chennai, 140, 150 seemed like a high-scoring game, but in Mumbai, it is a very low-scoring match. And I think both the teams were underpowered, and it is like credits to Miller and Morris. Like they did what they are meant to do. RR is always known for having great England players, but what they don't realize is they have a very good bench of South African players as well. And today, in absence of key England player, Miller stepped in, and even Chris Morris stepped in, and both of them show their worth. So I think they pulled it back very well, and honestly, the team batting second, like I'm glad that the streak is broken, because if you see since the past 3 days, 3 matches, the teams were expected to get to those totals, but they didn't. So they couldn't chase it down. But now that they did chase it down, I think it is something good that it ended in a different note than the other 2 matches. But again, it's in Mumbai, so we expected them to do that. And coming to the point of Tom Curran, I don't think he is supposed to be given the entire blame. Rabada is the main bowler, at least the key bowler in the DC squad, and I think 19th over is the most crucial over. So if you're given so many runs, as in 15 runs in the 19th over, that's where the momentum, like it's gone. Because when your key main bowler is giving runs, and it just shifts the momentum. So Tom Curran had the extra pressure, and the RR players had had the momentum in their hands, so they could just hit away, and they just needed 12 runs, and Morris and Unakkad were on strike, and they did what they were supposed to do. So I don't think it's all we can pin the blame completely on Tom. That is what I felt, and the point where they lost the match was when Stoinis was given the ball. In that over, Miller hit 3 consecutive fours. So because of that, I think the complete game momentum has shifted. So that's where I think DC have lost it.
Forgive me for not knowing this, Norman. Who was the coach of Tom's side, the Rajasthan Royals?
Ponting.
No, Ponting's with DC.
Delhi Capitals.
So Rajasthan
Yeah.
Royals.
Rajasthan
Vastus?
Royals. There's Sangakkara in it.
Yeah, of course. Sangakkara is a part of it.
Sangakkara is, I think, he's the director of cricket. He's not the
Yeah,
coach.
right.
He's
Yeah,
not the
right.
coach.
So I don't quite get this.
I think the Australian is the coach who was the assistant coach for the Australian team.
Is it sort of Delhi? Is Ricky Ponting the captain there?
Ricky Ponting is the
Yeah,
coach
Ricky
of Delhi Capitals.
Ricky
He's
Ponting with Delhi.
Tom's coach. There also comes a time of actually being able to look after.
Well, I think Andrew McDonald is still there with the Rajasthan Royals. Andrew McDonald.
I don't think he is. I haven't seen any evidence of him. He's come off an Australian stint as well. Don't forget, he was the assistant coach for Australia.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not actually. Deputy, could you Google that while we're talking? Because I'm not sure.
I'm finding it out from you.
I'm pretty sure David Sangakkara has played a major role. Now, I don't quite understand this director of coaching scenario. For example, RCB's got Mike Hesson, the New Zealand former coach. Is he still current? I'm not sure. He's the director of coaching, and you've got the likes of Simon Kadich, who's the head coach. They work together. Although Mike Hesson does a lot of the talking, and Simon does a lot of the doing. So, can you explain to me, David, when you have a director of coaching and a coach, what actually is going on?
I think Sangakkara is director of cricket, not director of cricket.
Okay.
I think because I'm now involved in Gloucestershire as a county, sort of helping them with their cricket. And there's one thing that coaches want to do. They just want to coach.
Yeah.
They don't want to get involved in all the peripheral areas that you're involved in. So, you might have tiers of coaching, and somebody has to sit down with the press and be a spokesman, do all the negotiation around contracts and things like that. But the head coach just needs to coach. Now, this causes some dramas in football. I don't know whether it's in rugby league. Is actually the coach should be the one who makes the decisions. The other guy, when it becomes a director of football or director of cricket, gives the impression that they are the all-conquering source, which upsets the coach a little bit because they're the ones who are actually on the front line, who are talking to the players, running the dressing room. So the only point I was making around Tom's had a bit of a tough time. Hopefully it's only just for a few weeks or whatever. Also needs the coach and the captain to protect their young players, and not have them ending up having to bowl the last over all the time. That's quite a good attack. That actually you can have a different option. Sometimes you've got to read your players to know that actually when their confidence is a bit low, they just need a good game from time to time to justify to themselves that they still have a role to play. It just seems to me he's been put in the vice all the time, and I don't know. I'm biased because I know him really well.
You're very true, David. Because the fact is, the director of coaching or director of cricket, whatever term you want to put to them, they have a selection of coaching relationship. We mustn't forget they're very much in that position, and they can dictate the terms as to the bevy of assistant coaches and high performance coaches. So that's an interesting role that they play. And I think you're right. The head coach should just coach and not worry about all the administration.
It's always been a challenge, Norman, and I don't know why the other guys will comment of who picks the team. So let's take the Indian Test team. Who actually picks the team? Is it Kohli? Is it Shastri? Or is it the selectors?
Great question.
It's a captain and the head coach that picks the playing 11, because the selectors have no say in the playing 11. The selectors, they have their job finished when they pick the 17 or 16 member squad.
They pick the squad.
They pick the squad.
Over to the captain and the coach.
Yes. They don't have a say in the playing 11.
No.
But they must have a say if the player is not playing or not playing well, whether he then is selected further on. So there is always a selector who travels with the side,
Means on abroad or overseas tours, there's always a selector. One of the selectors or two of them, they are part of the touring side. So they have their say, but eventually it is the captain and the head coach who decides who they pick as in the final in the playing 11.
Did you see, though, in Sri Lanka, Tom Moody has a role where he oversees the selection. He's not a selector, but he oversees them.
Well,
Now,
you know well as I do, Norman, that Sri Lanka as a country have a lot of political intervention, where it's the
That's
Minister
right.
of Sport, or even the President of the country wants to get involved.
Absolutely. They need that.
Of all the, because I was chairman selectors for us for 100 test matches. So I was actually the longest serving chairman selector since the Second World War.
Amazing.
Various captains and coaches who have a different view. Some of the coaches I've worked with don't want to be a selector because they feel that they can't work with their players because they feel that a player who has a problem won't come to the coach if he knows he's a selector, because it will be seen as a perception of weakness. So they're all different views. There's no right or wrong. It's just, I just think, I quite like the scenario of the old-fashioned dressing room where the captain runs the dressing room.
Absolutely.
And I think in England's case, they currently have that at present with Morgan and Root. And if you look at the Australians when they're really at their peak, Steve Waugh, Mark Taylor ran the team. They might have had a heads, a chairman selectors, but I think it's, as Devices has said, they deliver a squad to the captain and the coach and say, get on with it. If you have an injury, let us know. We'll give you a replacement. Otherwise, the players need to know actually who's telling them what to do. So,
how lucky are we? How lucky are we, the Barsters and Dipsy? We have a man here who has all the insightfulness, all the evidence, all the real facts about what actually goes on. We're immensely lucky, as was Elton John to have you sit next to the piano at the time. We were handing his. We were handing
actually, Norman, he had an auto cue as well, just in case you forgot the words. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he did actually rewrite that song only a matter of days earlier.
No, he did. Oh, well. You can imagine the responsibility to be able to sing that live with the millions, billions who are watching that event.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, what a panel today. I've got David Graveney, I've got Dipti, the Barsters, and then you've got me. Oh, the only thing we lack is Chris Vernon, but that's okay. We'll get Chris. But I'm going to have to give Chris 45 minutes to talk about his game before we can actually start our broadcast. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell him that actually humility is quite a good thing in sport. Because it comes back to bite you if you're not careful.
I'll start with that. I'll say, before you start, Chris, I've got a statement here from David Graveney. Humility is better than NFL performance. What was I getting? Humility is? What was your statement?
It's a good thing to have.
Okay. Humility is a good thing to have. I'll read that.
It tends to come back and bite you if you're not careful. I'm still having to look at DeBasis' hat, which is causing me great distress. Because if you don't recognise it, Norman, it's actually a Chelsea hat.
It's a Chelsea hat, yeah.
And I support Liverpool, DeBasis, so it's a bit of an issue to me. So.
Go on, DeBasis, take your hat off.
No, I can't.
No, doesn't have to. Don't worry. They played very well.
I know. You would invariably pull my leg.
They deserve to win, and we've had our moments against Chelsea in the Champions League over a number of years. So it's your day to be in the sunshine. Okay, so we're looking at the coaching staff. Kumar Sangakkara is the team director. Have they got a head coach? Trevor
No,
Penny's
they don't have a head coach. Trevor Penny is their assistant coach. They have a batting coach in Amal Majumdar, and they have in fact two bowling coaches. Spin bowling coach is Sairaj Bahutule, and their fast bowling coach is I'll just get the name. I think someone did mention.
Rob Castle is a fast bowling coach.
Rob Castle is a fast bowling coach.
But do they have the same sort of criteria of making sure they engage local coaches as opposed to overseas.
Yeah, every
coaches.
team, every team in every IPL franchise have a spotter. They
Yeah.
normally, what they do is that before the auction, they go around and have a look at the domestic cricket, and they spot talents, and that is how you see the likes of Chetan Sakaria and the players like Chetan Sakaria, who has been picked by Rajasthan Royals. So
Right.
most of the franchises, they have a spotter.
Because my only experience of dealing with, well, obviously at the senior level, I've seen the coaches who are involved there. Ironically, they tended to be overseas coaches. But when it comes to under 19s, which is where the Indians are creating all this great vast talent, like Gill, like Shaw, like Pant, there tends to be a lot of Indian coaches who are always in position. They're not household names. Well, certainly not to me. They might be to the two of you, who are really good because they use. I think what they're used to doing is work. They're working in the environment of dealing with young players, and then we've all had, and Norman's had children and whatever. That the young people have a bit of an overload in terms of information. So the best coaches in that environment don't make it too complicated, And
Exactly.
I've seen Rahul Dravid deal with the players, and he doesn't get involved that much. He lets the coaches who are in those age groups deal with the issue. He acts as a bit of a mentor, quite rightly, because he was a fantastic player. But they have a really good coaching setup by using coaches who are familiar with dealing with younger players. And I think England miss a massive trick. They tend to want to put somebody who's, played. But it's always been a great mystery. I never played for England, and I could be sitting down talking to a younger player, and the person next to me has played 50 Test matches for England, and I could say exactly the same thing as a bloke to my left, but the player will want to listen to the bloke who's played 50 times for England. Whereas some of the best coaches don't necessarily have had to have played 100 Test matches. They just need to be able to get the message across to young players.
That's a very significant point. I think, Dipti, you would understand this, being a young person watching cricket, that you generally are brought up being taught to listen to an ex-cricketer as a commentator, to listen to someone as a coach who's just played or has been at that level. I think that's a falsehood to actually think that because they play at that level, they're the know-it-all of all situations. It actually frustrates me somewhat because I think we're lacking something in a lot of the selections where there's a certain direction we've gone because of the fact we only have players that have played the game who are now effectively coaching. I don't know Mike Hesson's record.
But I think the biggest example is John Buchanan.
Yep.
When Australia dominated world cricket over a period of time, I think John Buchanan did he play much for Australia?
No, he played. I think he may play at state level.
I think he might have played state level devices for Queensland. What he did do was to change the basis of analysing the opposition. He was, he filmed everything in terms of the opposition. He had it from all different angles, and then having that fielding, you could then what he did have was extraordinary IT skills. So he could look at bowlers and put it on a computer and work out actually where the ball was landing all the time. I know that's done automatically now because you see it on the TV. But when actually he came in, that had never been done before. So I can remember talking to him at Queensland when I first went to Australia. And he said, name a player. So we were on the process of talking to Dean Jones, who sadly is no longer with us. And he had video footage of Dean Jones so he could work out where the bowlers were supposed to be bowling in right at the beginning, through the course of his innings to identify the weakness. So the IT skills that are used now make it very difficult for batsmen because the opposition will know all their weaknesses and strengths from the moment they take strike. Whereas in the past, it was just whether you had a good memory or not as a captain to work out where to bowl.
I would want to add one thing about Rahul Dravid since we are in that topic. If you ask any player who has played under 19 in this past 5 years, the first name that will come to everyone's mouth is Rahul Dravid. The way he mentored them and he nurtured them is the result why India is having such a great, young team, which is looking equally good as the one that we are having right now, and they have the true caliber of being number one in coming stages, and it will be very tough competition to get into playing level if you look at it. And obviously IPL is helping, but for them to nurture and have the right mindset, I think Rahul Dravid is the reason behind this young and changed Indian team. If you look at previous seasons, all the under 19 players used to not make it into the international teams. There are hardly few players who did that, like Kohli. These players, they're very few, but if you see the last 5 years, all of them are stepping up, and I still think. I think the main credit has to be given to Dravid, and we are very fortunate that he stepped up and took that position, and because of that, we are very fortunate enough to have what we are seeing the fruits of what he has placed. He's the main foundation, and he laid the roots for everything. That is what I think. So I think he deserved the credit to here to speak about the Indian young talent. So just wanted to speak it up.
But I've seen him in operation. He creates an environment where these young guys, there's a lot of pressure playing for any country as a young person. You always think you're on trial, and he creates an environment that allows them to just go and enjoy it. Just play the way and feel relaxed about what you do. Because if you put too much pressure on them, then they'll freeze in the moment. And the other thing that is quite important is actually they're quite good. Or that's understatement, massive understatement. They are very good in terms of how they play. If you saw Prithvi Shaw or Gill bat 3-4 years ago, then you just say, well, they are destined. They are stars in the making.
Chris Zona's been saying that about his batting as well, but we'll see how he really pans out.
God, just switch him off.
Devashis.
I just like to add to this. Since this discussion is sort of revolving around the nurturing the young Indian talent, I would take you back to a few years when Jagmohan Dalmia was the BCCI president. He started a talent research development wing, TRDO. So actually, they used to send there were few former cricketers who was sent to different parts of the country, different parts of India to spot talent. That is how we saw talent being unearthed in the likes of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, because the Dilip Vengsarkar was the chairman of the talent research development wing. So, so that is how we see that in this cricketers coming from the smaller states, which was not the case before, because previously you used to have cricketers more coming from metros, the bigger cities like Bombay, Chennai, Delhi. But now you see cricketers are coming from small towns. So you take the instance of Chetan Sakaria. No one knows. He comes from a village called this place called Vartej, which is 180 kilometers from Rajkot. Can you believe it? Coming from that place and playing in the IPL. So actually, that seeds were sown when TRDO was started by BCCI, and obviously talking about the experience, obviously with the 18 tours, the players are more experienced now these days with the IPL and the 18 tours. Means you pick at under 19 cricketer, he is almost match ready to take that pressure, because he's playing. He when you go to countries like England or Australia or play a series or A2 series, then you are invariably you get that experience.
Absolutely.
But India could pick 3 A-team sides. They got so many
100%.
cricketers to choose. So many
Absolutely.
cricketers to choose
Yeah,
from.
they have a reach talent. They have a reach talent. You take the
Yeah.
bowling league, they have as many as 12 and 13 fast bowlers who can easily walk into that Indian side. Means they have such a pool of talent. Mm,
But yeah,
As you
you can't deny the dream. To be able to play in the IPL is just an extraordinary thing for a young person who's based in India. The one thing it has changed is actually, and I think that's worldwide actually, to say that actually young people now understand how fielding is such an important part of the game. And you wouldn't say the way the the subcontinent feels now compared to when I first started playing professional cricket is light years away from what they. But that's what limited over cricket does to you, really. So they have to be, and the power with which they hit the ball. So India's they've got some difficult decisions to make because they've got too many players. They might have to loan some to some of the other nations. They won't.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So Australia's taking on everywhere south of Chennai. We're carving it off. That's now called North Australia. Okay.
Is that right? Are they playing Australian rules there as well, or not?
Well, they will. They will. They will. Oh, by the way, South Sea Rabbitohs, just in case you've forgotten, my team are doing exceptionally well, winning relentlessly. They're almost unstoppable. All right, now we are here, guys, not to talk about Princess Diana's funeral, not to talk about David Gravely and also Christo. We were here, and Dipti, by the way, before we start, you are fantastic. You are a breath of fresh air. It's fantastic to have you here, and we really appreciate the commentary. Clearly, you're of great quality, and that's why I've got you here, because you deserve it.
Can I ask Dipsy a question? Do you think?
Sorry?
But Dipsy, I thought when the IPL started that this was going to cast a bit of a shadow over Test match cricket across the world. Do you think in India Test match cricket is still as important as it was before?
I think in mid 20s or like 2000s, it went down. But right now, I would give like after Kohli took up the captaincy, I think with his energy that he brings in and the way they are performing, the craze is back on. If you ask anyone from my age group or younger than me, we all look at Test cricket as equally or even more, in fact. Now it is at this 2021, I think the craze has been Test and T20s. ODIs has come a little bit down because we have World Cup coming in T20 and Test is there. The craze is all over India right now, I can assure you that. And I would say Test matches are meaning more to us, and we are glad that Virat is taking the maize with him and he's keeping it. And he I guess he and the present team has brought the change in Indian audience. The mindset it has changed our mindset towards Test cricket. It is not boring by any chance if you follow it, if you understand it. There is a thrill that goes by, like we have to appreciate the players also for batting 5 days continuously in those tough conditions. So I think no, IPL has not affected by any chance the Test cricket. Test is Test, and IPL is different. And if you ask any player, any Indian player, what is their ultimate goal, everyone would say it is to play for the nation and flaunt the blue colors. That is the ultimate goal and aim for every Indian player who wants to play cricket. IPL is something that which gives them the platform to do that. That's what I think.
Gives them a good bank balance, Dipsy. That's why.
That's certainly the case.
No, but I think that's a really critical point, because if you devalue playing for your country, then we're in thin ice doing that. That when I played as a young man, you set your heart on wanting to represent your country. Wearing the green cap in Australia is the ultimate thing to do. And I was just thinking in terms of India, and it's great because of the series that have just been played in the last 12 months, the best series was Australia against India.
Absolutely.
You can be bowled out for 39, captain goes home, lots of bowlers injured, and then to fight back the way that India did is just extraordinary. It was a great advert for Indian cricket, but it was a great advert for the game more than anything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, David. Well said, Dipsy. The renaissance of Test cricket occurred in Australia. I was lucky enough to be there, and thanks to the Devashis, had plenty of coverage from there. It was the making of Test cricket once again. It is now on a different level, on a different platform. We are watching Test cricket quite heavily.
I would like to add to this whole discussion is that I think Test cricket is popular in particularly nations like Australia, England. I think those are the two main nations that is where you see Test cricket more popular, because you can find crowds coming in numbers to watch Test cricket, which is not the case in India, because I have witnessed myself. Because these days you don't find much crowds going. Obviously, these days Test matches is played behind closed doors. But even said that, the last series that India played, I think there wasn't much crowd. That the series they played against South Africa. So I think, and when you compare it with IPL, because if you watch it on, I was just going through the Hotstar today, as many as 40 or 50 lakhs people were watching the live match on Hotstar on the mobile app. So that goes to prove that the people are people love to watch IPL or T20 cricket more than Test cricket. But which I think, to some extent, obviously, but talking about the Indian team, they still regard Test cricket to their primary pinnacle, which is why they are all raring to go for the World Test Championship final against New Zealand at Southampton. So I think when it comes to viewership, I think definitely IPL and T20 cricket is more popular in India compared to Test cricket.
But having seen,
it suits the
Yeah.
modern person debates that people haven't got the time to be able to sit down for 5 days to watch a Test match,
And that is
fitting in and out to watch an exciting T20 game that takes 3 hours. Or actually, India seems to be making the games go longer and longer and longer, but it's still short in terms of young people being able to watch it and still have a life around that. So, from a marketing point of view, it is the best product. There's no doubt.
And that is the reason that the BCCR have initiated to have more and more pink ball test, day-night test matches, because we all know that India have only played two test matches, pink ball test in India, one against Bangladesh and there was one in the recently concluded series against England. So from now on, the BCCI president Saurav Ganguly, he wants to be a regular affair whenever there's a series being played in India, to have a pink ball test so as to popularize the game, so as to revive Test cricket in India, which is which is which is
which
an
has happened, which has
which,
happened.
which has happened, because Australia have as many as 9 Test matches being played in Australia. If I'm not wrong, Norman, I think
Correct.
that they have already played 9 Test matches. So I think pink ball test or a day-night test is a way forward to make Test cricket popular.
Can I just quickly say a point about New South Wales are playing?
I don't want to
Sorry,
disagree
David, New
with
South
you.
Wales are playing Queensland at the moment, which is domestic cricket. That has captured our interest in Australia because we're a bit desperate for cricket here at the moment because we didn't play any Test series of late. People are watching New South Wales versus Queensland, which I'm ecstatic about. It's our Sheffield Shield. A number of the Australian players are in those sides. We're watching it. So it's a bit of a twist there.
I personally debate I understand the motive, but I'm dead against pink ball test matches because I think the conditions and the ball do different things during the course of the match. And they tried it in England, and the England weather was such that people just left halfway through the game because they were too cold. Now, it might suit India when it's about 35 degrees, but I just think the ball does different things at different times of the night. So Yeah, I wouldn't knock it on the head, but I think it suits certain parts of the country, of the world. But if you're playing a test match where the ball is going to get wet at certain stages of the day, that is a massive advantage to one side or the other. So,
Absolutely.
in my mind, the court is still out in that subject. So.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This is an amazing conversation, guys. We've gone 50 minutes and we haven't talked about the game, but it's riveting. It's extremely interesting. I love this. This is what this program is about. Bringing together people, the rarity of having David Graveney talking to Dipthi about cricket from two ends of the scale is immense for me. And the viewership, the comments, Dipthi, you're a star. They want to know all about you. No one ever asked me.
Quite right.
I'm trying not to read the comments.
No one's asking me out for a date. Damn it. I'm very disappointed. By the way, if anyone wants to date me, I'm available, except for these bastards. I'll leave you out of that conversation. All right. Now, the reality is we have had a game today that has left a mark, I believe, on the IPL somewhat. Why? Because of the distinct batting efforts were so hard to understand. The top 4 or 5 batters failed, and we had certain batsmen going on. It's very hard to explain what's going on. The Mumbai pitch, one case was a match that should have been a high-scoring match, but it went the complete opposite way. I never expected the scoreline. Chennai, I get it. The pitch is low-turning pitch, which has its difficulty to score, but this pitch seemed to be a good pitch. Can someone explain to me what happened to the batting sides today?
I think it's an aberration for Delhi Capitals. Obviously, it is just a one-off thing for Delhi Capitals, I would say, because 9 out of 10 times you would be chasing 147, 148 on that Wankhede strip. So I think it is just a one-off kind of a thing. I don't want to look too much into it. Obviously, Delhi Capitals and did lose the match instead of Rajasthan Royals winning it, and thanks to Chris Morris, as was pointed out by David at the start of our discussion, it was Chris Morris eventually making it count for his franchise. Obviously, he went in for 16.25 crore, making him the most expensive cricketer, and at last he's coming good for his franchise. Obviously, means until Chris Morris walked in, Rajasthan was almost dead and out, means dead and buried, means, so as to say. He just um, hit those big sixes and took the match away from Delhi Capitals.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting how Jadev, when it cut, actually got the man of the match. His bowling obviously was taken to be the most critical moment of the match and not necessarily the way that Morris ended. I do applaud that because we generally see batters get players of the match. In this case, they haven't. It's a pity that Samson didn't bat well, but his team won. Interesting. He batted particularly well the last match and his team lost. So that's hard to work out. And the reality is this was a game that we will move to one side. It doesn't necessarily say that Rajasthan Royals are going to make the top 4, nor does it say Delhi Capital won't. I think they're both in appropriate positions. One's in the top 4, one probably in the bottom 4 at this stage, even though the result was the other way around. David, just quickly.
I just T20, when you get so much concentrated, too much T20 cricket, it's hard to compare game against game. If somebody switched on and watched Shaw and Dewan bat in the previous game, I've never seen the ball hit like that. I've never seen, just clean hitting of the ball. And then Sampson very nearly winning the game all on his own. One thing it has done, actually, I think I don't know whether the England players play better when they play as a group. But I'd have to say, when they're just playing on their own, they're not quite the same threats as they possibly could be, like in the India-England series. I don't know whether they've played too much cricket or whatever. They just don't seem to be the same threat. Mind you, having said that, he went to the next game. Somebody will smash 100 somewhere. But, they looked a little bit timid, I would have to say. Sort of if you look Joss bat. I know they've been on the road for a very long time. they've been living in the bubble for a long time. I don't know whether that's had an effect, but this happened to other players. The Indian players have been in the same scenario as well. So, but yeah,
But the good thing, David, I would like to add the good thing for the Josh Butler is that he's with his family. So I think he cannot complain because to have your family beside you during the bubble, I think
oh,
that is what
I
player want.
wasn't aware that all the families had come out to be with the players. But if that's the case, then that certainly does help the scenario.
But I would want to say that just because they have a family around, it doesn't bring down the fact that they are in a bubble. From outside, it might seem fine, but then inside, not able to go out and being around the same people all the time is not easy. So we all have been in lockdowns respectively, and we know how hard it was for every one of us. So these players are keep doing that since 1.5 years. So I think the bubble thing definitely is affecting the players, and we can't say that just because they have their family, it might reduce a bit, but obviously bubble will affect the players' mental stability. I feel that will be
And
there.
Gypsy hotels are hotels. They're not
Right,
living in your own home.
right, yeah.
The series where I eventually got the sack with Norma will relate to having beaten Australia in 2005. They took their revenge Australia the next series, where England managed to lose a Test match at Adelaide, which if you played it about 50 times, you would never lose. But we were comfortably smashed by Australia. And I can remember coming to the hotel at Adelaide. So, and all these cricketers, the young players, just starting families, was fantastic for them. There were more prams and paraphernalia related to young children than there were cricket cases. That's true. And also, if you put the players all on one floor, then a baby wakes up in the middle of the night, then it's more often than not, lots of other babies will wake up at the same time. So the players, after about 2 Test matches, were absolutely exhausted because their sleep had been broken, and it's hard bringing up children in any walk of life. So I just feel for people who are, when you can't, I think to be able to tour any country, but particularly the subcontinent, if you haven't got the opportunity to just go off on your own and have a cup of coffee in a street in these fantastic cities and just absorb the culture of where you're at, it becomes a really hard, tough time to be involved. So I think they're missing out. And also to be able to play, and this applies to all the sports, to be playing sport with no crowds is also a difficult thing to handle. Sometimes actually being abused is better than having no crowd, really. At least you're in the back.
True. I must quickly say we're going to continue, but Dipti, thank you very much. She spent a good hour here. She needs to go. She's got, well, she doesn't need any beauty sleep. She's got that's fine. I'm not needing beauty sleep. But Dipti, you've been fantastic. I'm expecting you now, if you're able to be a regular on this program. Is that a promise?
If I am free, I'll definitely try to make it. Thank you for having me on the show. It was great to chat with all you guys. Thank you.
Dipti, it's been an honor to have a chat.
Oh my God. Same here, David. Thank you.
Goodbye, Dipti. Thank you
Norman.
very much.
Thank you, Devasis. Thank you, David.
Goodbye.
It's good night for me. Good morning for Norman. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
We're very grateful to have had her here.
Thanks.
I've got to go at 9 my time.
How long is that?
Right? That's about 11 minutes or 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. We'll talk a bit further, David, with you. Thank you, Dipti. Thank you very much. Isn't it amazing to have a young woman like that who speaks so competently about cricket? Had a very insightful discussion, didn't she? Especially her comments on Rahul Dravid were very insightful, don't you think, guys?
Yeah, no. She's all the girls that you managed to get on the program are walking wisdoms in terms of knowledge of the game. It's very good to see. But
I'm very pleased.
it just underlines the passion for the game in India, which is, and until I'm trying to explain that to people in England, and really, there's no way that you'll really understand it unless you actually go to India and see it.
That's true.
And see the thousands of people who play cricket.
Oh, it's phenomenal. All right, guys, just a few comments. We've had a lot of people asking about some of the players, like, for example, Voira, who opened the batting, Dubé, Tabasas. What's your thoughts on those two players?
Yeah, Norman, definitely. Something needs to be. Rajasthan needs to look at having someone in place of Dubé, Shivam Dubé, because the two matches he was brought into that Rajasthan squad with a high expectation of doing well, being an all-rounder, but he did not do well when he was with RCB last season. That was the reason he was released from that RCB squad, uh, uh, because he showed a lot of promise. That he was picked in the Indian side as well, but then I think it's high time that he needs to fire. Means I don't see him playing if he doesn't perform in the next couple of matches. I don't see him getting too many opportunities to play in that Rajasthan Royals side.
Exactly.
Can you
this is early days.
Can you explain to me why Samson, having watched that 100 he scored, why doesn't he get more opportunities to play, or am I missed something?
For India,
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah.
I think India has someone like Rishabh Pant, who we all know what a in last 4 months he is having of late. Means starting from that England series, he has been he is having a what to say, um, the moment of his career. I would say, if I would like to place it like that way, because
Well, he's playing
and
shot bases that nobody's ever seen before. So,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
even in this match, they're having lost a number of wickets to start with. He just went on the offensive because that's just the only way. He had the privilege
That is
of youth. The privilege of youth. That's what I put it as.
and that is what we know about Rishabh Pant, the fearless cricket that he brings to the side, be it
Yeah.
India or to beat his IPL franchise, because he that is Rishabh Pant for you. Means he just goes out and expresses himself, bats with freedom, and that is how he should play, irrespective of his captaincy role in Delhi Capitals or for India, because you just go out and play your natural game. And I think herein lies. But he did make some changes, because what he used to see, that they just go out. He's more matured now, since that Australia series. He is a more matured cricketer, and we can see the best in Rishabh Pant now.
Well, he has to. I've always thought in the period of time that I've been involved, and this is coming on the basis of somebody not good enough to be as a player, but as a selector, that Adam Gilchrist, in the period of time he played for Australia, revolutionised the game. Because you knew if you were playing against Adam Gilchrist, you had to get him out. Because 2 hours of Adam Gilchrist, you will lose the game. He will
Absolutely.
change the course of the match. And Pant is that type of cricketer. You know, when it's that sort of the game's in the balance, 5 wickets down, forget the runs, but it's in the balance. You need somebody to come in and play like that. And as hard as it is for him, you know, he'll have some setbacks or whatever. I hope he doesn't. But he just needs to stick to his guns, the same as Gilchrist did. You know, there has to be within that dressing room to say, just keep playing the same way. You know, we'll do all the boring bits, but the opposition will know what a threat you are, and you've just got to keep doing that.
He certainly is in a position to be arguably, at this early stage, a revolutionary cricketer. I think, as what Ganguly said to Basis, the next 10 years will be dominated by this man. And I think that's truly the case. It's just not one-off. He's doing it on a relatively regular basis, and he's drawing more and more attention and not changing his way of playing.
Well, I have today.
Only...
The wicket's falling all around him, and he's still sticking to his guns. Because the only way that they were going to win, he had to bat the way he normally bats. There's no point poking around. And I think that is the beauty of T20, is that regardless of the situation, there is a way to play, and you've got to stop looking at the scoreboard. You've got to get runs as fast as you can get them.
What do you think about the discussion, David, of strike rates of a batter when he's only 130? He's not deemed to be good enough anymore. He needs to get well above that. What's your thoughts on that?
Strike rate is difficult because you don't know the type of wickets people are batting on, whether they actually, if it's a low spinning wicket and what is required. For instance, the game where Sampson got 100, there's not going to be two matches where 220 plays 220 as a fixture. It was a remarkable game and be shown over and over again. Well played the groundsman to have a pitch like that. So there obviously is. I think there is a sort of a bar where you need to be over the top of that in terms of a strike rate. So. But I haven't really studied the figures to know. I just look at the players of there are a bunch of players that unless you get them out, they will change the course of the match. Some that you can contain because you know their strengths and weaknesses, but some will just destroy you in a matter of overs. And Pant is one of them.
Absolutely.
And actually, Sikkim Darwin, that's the best I've ever seen him play. In that match, he just hit the ball where there were no fielders, and when they moved fielder, he just hit it somewhere else. Some of the body positions he got into of going across the crease to just open up other parts of the ground was extraordinary.
Exactly, there's something to be said about that, and people are on our message comparing Punt and Sampson. They're clearly saying Punt is a game changer. Sampson's not consistent enough. The other thing is we've got tournaments coming. Obviously, the World Cup, the T20 World Cup's coming up. A lot of evidence in this series of how players will fare in that. But we have a small match between, of course, the World Test Championship, which is only approximately 2 months away, which will be only a couple of weeks after the whole IPL season. Interesting to see how that develops as well. I'm looking forward to that, David, because if everything goes to plan, I can go. I'll be there in England. I know the Bastards is trying to get there too. And Chris will be still gloating about his Lord's performance.
It'd be quite interesting to see how some of the Indian players approach that, having been belting a white ball all around India for several weeks. Suddenly to end up playing a match in England where it might seem around. Fortunately, the weather's been pretty dry. So, that if you're taking on New Zealand, you don't want something that's going to seem about because their record is actually phenomenal. So, they've got a way of playing with their seam bowling. But I do think that actually the Indian seamers now are, can compete with others. They might not be in Anderson, they might not be abroad, but they showed. I think that without harping on about it, that Australian series gave a lot of confidence to a lot of young bowlers, not only who were playing in the match, but those who were maybe not. Actually, we are good enough to be on the stage. So, I think they've got enough bowlers to be able to compete against New Zealand. But it'll be hard, I think, for the Indian batsmen to come from an environment where they've been bashing it around all the time. I know some of them aren't playing in the IPL, but let's see. I think it's a great achievement for both sides to be in the final, and richly deserved. And hopefully the weather. And I know you have to say that with England. I hope the weather doesn't intervene and they get fair crack of the playing conditions.
Very well said. So, David, if you need to go, let me know.
Norman, I also would like to take an excuse because I need to just go and have some.
Looking tired. You've been fantastic, Devashan. David,
thank you.
I thank you both for your time.
And I would like, and it's been an honor it's been an honor for a journalist to be talking with David.
No, it's an honor's mine to be able to speak to you.
Yes. And I am only gaining so much of knowledge means talking to you. Obviously,
Well,
I would love
so
to. I would love to meet you.
if you and I talk together, it will mean that actually Norman's not talking about his career, so we'll quit him.
But I don't know whether I will make it to England or not because with this travel restrictions for the upcoming series. But if I do come, I will definitely make it a point to meet you.
Good. Look forward to it.
We'll all meet together, especially.
Yeah. So.
Tobias, I hope you invite me to that lunch. I wouldn't be there too.
Obviously, Norman, I would love. I would want to see you now that your channel is doing so well. You are getting popular. You are getting recognized. You are meeting so many people. You need to take this forward to the next level, and
Which
and
I will.
and the only way you can take it to the next level, eyes on cricket with Norman Kochenek, is to do more frequent traveling. Means I would say that do cover series, overseas tours.
I
In
want
that,
to.
you will meet more people. Especially, you need to come to India because a lot of your followers is from India, so they would love to see you doing the broadcast from India, talking about cricket from outside the stadium, which you
Which I
normally
will.
do. So I think this is just the right moment for you to take the next step forward.
Thank you.
The basis,
All right,
that's where you
guys.
need to go. Norman's
All right,
threatening
Dave.
to take us all to the West Indies. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, while we're speaking, by the way, Mervyn Richards is on live to Antigua with the Parish League. Here's his thing as well. Amazing guy. All right.
I've got to
Actually,
go.
David, you've got to have a look at the.
Meet you. Look forward to meeting you again in the future.
Okay, David. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you. It'll be great to see. It'll be great to see. Wasn't it amazing?
Absolutely amazing. And you are having so means. If you look at the YouTubers, means they hardly can get in touch with so many big stars. Means obviously stars of yesterday, David Graveney, Marvin Richards, and then you have the likes of Simon Willis, Adam Holyoke, Adam Mulally, Alan Mulally. So you are bringing so many people, Norman, and it's a great thing that we're doing.
I'm very, very proud of this, and to hear David Gravey talking about sitting next to Elton John at Princess Diana's funeral is astounding, and we don't realise the calibre of people they are across more than just cricket, across English society. They're very extra special people, and Chris will talk more about with him as well. His video he has where it's portrait as opposed to landscape. When you put the two together, it cuts the top of the video.
All right, you send me tomorrow. I will get it edited for you and send it across to you with your channel logo.
Okay, wonderful. All right, Tobias, I'm more than happy if you want to go. I'm going to talk
Yeah,
some more.
I would love to leave, Norman, if you excuse me, because tomorrow morning I have to wake up again and start walking.
No problems. In fact, tomorrow we've got a bunch of guys coming on at this time. We'll be on the beach, and so will I be. In fact, post this bus, I'm considering going down to the beach with my viewers, showing them some of the beach areas while we're talking. All right, thanks, Tobias. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. I want to talk with my fans, or not my fans, but my viewers. And we've got some great comments coming through. People are saying this comment to me. Norman, you'll be awake every night throughout the Test series, IPL series. Get some rest. Don't worry, guys. I'm resting. I'm resting very short. I mean, I don't know whether I look well, but I'm very, very bright. I'm very much alive and very much willing to spend time with you. So I'm very fortunate to have the likes of Debashis Sen for extra time. He is a doyen of Indian media. He and I work very closely together. Obviously, Sri Harsha and I work very closely with fan reactions, which has been brilliant. I'm very fortunate to have the likes of David Graveney, Simon Willis, Chris Vernon from England, as well as Adam Holyoke, Monty Panesar, and of course, Alan Mulally. I've got great friends like Jeff Thompson, Doug Walters, and the likes of even Greg Chappell, Lenny Pascoe. The list goes on. I'm very fortunate indeed, and there'll be plenty more coming on. Then the female contingent. We've had an enormous number of people. Aparna Saini, who's still with us. We obviously have the likes of Priti Upala, who is still with us. She'll be on when Chris is on either Friday or Saturday. We've just had Dipthi Sarakonda. We've also had the likes of Anesha, she's going to be on as well in the future. We have a lot of girls that are involved with the show. I'm very proud of them of the female cricketers. I'm going to be doing a special with Shripali Rurakoti probably tomorrow at about I think 4:30 p.m. Indian time, and we'll talk about her life and her cricket relationships, which are immense, and her training, her Myris yoga and fitness training, which has certainly gone through the roof. So Ismuk says the fan reaction video was great. I've got more to upload. I spoke to people about Chris Gale. We'll be talking more about people about Chris Gale. So please make sure when you see my videos, especially around the fan reaction or the newspaper delivery or any other specials or one-offs, please make sure you share it around, because I can only do so much to provide you with the content, but I need people to see it. I want people to see it. And if you've got friends in your networks on a WhatsApp connection, like you might have 20 family and friends that are on your WhatsApp connection, well then attach the video and send it to them. Say, hey, maybe you should watch this. We had a session 2 days ago. It was the second hour. Like, this is the second hour now. In the second hour, we had an amazing conversation with Mervyn Richards, who was Vivian Richards' brother, and a man called Ronan Matthew, who put out a book called Ruby's Dream, the story of a boy's life. It is something that is astounding. A book written about the days when Mervyn Richards and Viv Richards, when they were kids, were playing in the backyard with one knee down, one knee up, on the ground, playing a form of cricket that I'd never heard of before. And the anecdotes that Mervyn Richards, Viv's brother, was better in most ways to his brother Viv at a young age. But then Merv decided to become a soccer player rather than a cricketer, even though he played a high level of cricket. And Viv went on to being the legend that we all know him to be. Great stories. Great stories. So please, Himanshu Singh, Ismuks, Akon Ahmed, Anupam Das, Hardik Parmar, Kartik Siddharth Tak, Ashok Datani. You're all there, you're talking regularly about Lemon Livingston, for example. Arjan here, which I mentioned your name before. And then you have Vijay Shree, Manish Chipo. There's a whole bunch of people that I wanted to mention here that have been following. Manish Chipo has been on a few times. Floyd Money Meth Flower. We did talk to girls more, and we gave them the chance, and they're amazing inclusion. Vishak Vijay. There's a whole list of people that have been online for quite a while. Obviously, Swanky Natish. They're all here, and it's very good to have your names to be able to read out. And AA Gamer, who's been on quite a bit. Mary Wakar made some great comments about Dipti's great knowledge of cricket. Krishna Mohan has been on a lot. AB18, AB18, in fact. Karnav Bali also is a great. Christian Mohan's there. We've got a number of people have been commenting, and it's been great to have them online. I'm very impressed. Himanshu Singh says, I need a vid on how they plan to revive Windies cricket to top. Would be great if Windies get the top of the pole again. Well, it comes down to the fractious administration in some cases. Someone like Mervyn Richards should be the one to go to. He's an amazing man with great respect. What Antigua does for cricket is beyond any other area of cricket. I'm very impressed with the way they do things there. It is superb. One of the West Indies, I love the West Indies. One of my favourite platforms to talk to people, to visit people. And again, they've got the Antigua Parish League, which is on currently, which I would recommend you all have a look at. It is one of the platforms that is quite incredible. I have Curtly Ambrose, Mervyn Richards with Viv Richards. Viv has come on. I've actually discussed things with both I and the likes of Priti Upala. Had a discussion with Viv not long ago. It was a magnificent session. It was a lot of fun, and I really was impressed to be able to be on that platform. Any other questions, guys, you want me to answer here? Because I'm willing to listen. I'm going to answer your calls. We have still a lot of people watching. The match today, as you know, was relatively close to the wire. 152. Well, the scores were very low. 140 was the highest. In fact, I'll get the scores up now to be confirmed. The batting was, in fact, it was quite disappointing. So Delhi Capitals got 147 after losing 8 wickets, and Rajasthan Royals made 150 after with 7 wickets down with only 2 balls to spare. Quite impressive, but I don't know whether Rajasthan Royals will necessarily be making the top 4 because of it. Delhi Capitals should still do so. They'll come back, and they'll come back hard. Baba Azam Virat Kohli that's a Dianshu Kushwaha. That's a great statement. I mean, You can't really say that Baba Azam is better than Virat Kohli, to be honest with you. Virat Kohli's record on all formats is far superior and is a longer period. Baba Azam has certainly shown his wares and he's worthy of the #1 position for ODIs at this moment. Or was it T20? I'm not sure. I think it's T20 actually. But I think that you'll find that overall Virat Kohli is far superior. Not a matter of not taking away from Baba Azam at all. He's brilliant. In fact, a lot of the Pakistani players are playing particularly well, and you can't knock them. Ismooks, I agree. I would like to see a big, fast, windies bowler like Curtly on the show someday. I should be able to get Curtly on. I met and had a lot of time with Curtly. I think he certainly is. The question I'm getting for Vinod Raj is who'll win the IPL 2021. I've maintained from the start that my so-called favourite team to win, and not necessarily the team I favour more, the team I believe it's favoured to win this year and deserves to, is Delhi Capitals. They're going to have to get over some of these little last-minute chokings that are going on, both in the final last year and today's match. But I think they've got the ability to do so. When they're playing against the best sides, they'll play accordingly best. So I'm still maintaining Delhi Capitals to win the overall tournament. I maintain that KKR will be in amongst it. But I believe the teams that will be the top three will be Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals, and I would say RCB. They've got a big chance. With Maxwell on the team, Simon Kadich is a great coach. Michael Heston's overseeing it. There's a lot of great structures there. I don't quite understand Rawls' coaching. You haven't got a head coach. You've got a director of cricket, but you haven't got a head coach. You've got a whole bunch of assistant coaches. That's confusing. Realistically, Sangakkara is the head coach. I don't care what his title is, director or whatever. He's the head coach. What do you think about Chahal? He is not having much of the ball. Well, like Tom Curran, I don't know how Tom Curran's decided at all. I think Tom Curran's faring a lot worse, even though he's a different type of bowler. Chahal probably needs a break. Maybe he needs a couple of games off. Maybe he needs to be given a sense of being dropped to come back harder next time. I think he's been cruising a bit too long. I agree. He hasn't been playing well at all. He needs to just have more confidence. It's probably a matter of confidence more than anything else. So Sangakkara is a dual role. What is a dual role? He's a head coach. This director of mumbo jumbo is just rubbish. I'm sick of these titles. You're a head coach. You're not a director of cricket. Does that mean you're in charge of all the cricketers? It seems to be a bit of doubling up. I think that there's just one title, head coach, and you've got the people assisting you. And put high performance around the training side, you might have someone there as well. But Mario Villawayan is actually someone who's a high performance coach. I really respect him. He's Sri Lankan. Know he and his wife Andrew very well. Great people. Great to have them as friends as well as see them go about their activities. Great fitness people. Have a great understanding of fitness. Certainly have a lot to do with the fitness of. In the case of Dinendra Villawayan, she's actually had a lot to do with the women's cricket in Sri Lanka. Mario with the Sri Lankan cricket, now with a whole range of other countries. Will this be the last IPL for Steve Smith? Well, if he doesn't get a game for Delhi Capitals, he'll wonder what he's doing there, but he's just getting paid a lot of money to sit there. I don't even know whether he'll play a game. I'm guessing maybe injury might be the reason. Same with Williamson. He'll have to go he'll have to play next game. Williamson will have to play. He needs to be there as well. But yeah, I don't think it's Steve Smith's last one. No, I think he'll play more. If he's getting paid the money, he'll play. He's a great mentor for somebody like Sanju Samson. Yeah, Steve Smith would be. So as a lot of other people. Sanju Samson played so well in the first match with his own batting. Second match didn't, but his team won. So intriguing in the balance between captaincy and your own batting form. Where it sits, it's a hard one. Very hard one indeed. Yeah, so realistically, today is Friday in Australia, which is not quite. It is in fact Friday in India. In UK, it's still the day before on Thursday, and America as well, and truly the day before. And we'll get pretty Opala. In fact, tomorrow's Friday, their time. So tonight, my time, Friday night into Saturday morning, we will probably have Chris Vernon on the show. We'll probably have Pretty Opala. Some of the people that you know very well, and David, depending on his availability. In fact, David won't be here tomorrow. The day after, the Bastards will be a part of it. And we'll have Dipti on occasions, well past her bedtime, but she was still keen to be a part. Age of all IPL winning captains is over the age of 30. Interesting, I didn't know that. Vinod Raj says, I have been watching your videos since the Indian tour of Australia. your hard work is reflecting in your videos. Keep up good work. Thank you, Vinod. I appreciate that. But to help me, to make my channel grow, you need to actually not just tell me how good it is. In fact, I'm free to tell everybody else and get other people involved and get them to subscribe. Something like 75% of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. So 75% of the people who watch the videos haven't hit the subscribe button. And there's no money to hit the subscribe button, but it helps me justify what I'm doing. So please, if you have people that view the channel on a regular basis or semi-regular basis, or even once or twice, just hit the subscribe button. That means we can engage with you more, and you have no obligations. There's no payment. We do have a membership level. Yes, we do. And I'm more engaging with those people. We're going to try and get out to you. COVID's stopping us somewhat, so we'll get there. We'll certainly get there very soon. So please don't discard the membership. It's very important, and we'll be able to get you more. I'm actually getting a hat delivered today and a shirt and some merchandise. We're hoping to get cups, a whole range of things. All right. How are we going then? It's very impressive. Guys, I'm fully awake. Might look a bit baggy in the eyes, but I'm perfectly fine. So don't worry about me. There's no issue with me. I'm adjusting my time to be able to sleep at the right times of the day, which suit the channel's time, which is good. That's worked out very, very well indeed. So no problems at all, guys. We've got everything running on all cylinders here. But just a matter of you making sure you watch the videos, you make comment. So thank you, Harvey Palmer. You've subscribed to your channel, which I appreciate. But then it's up to you. You've got a net body of people, maybe 50 to 100 people that you would come across on most days. Let them know. Urge them to subscribe. Tell them it's nothing more than hitting a button. That's it. And watch the videos, certainly. But by subscribing, you're made aware of when videos are around, and you can grow the channel that way, and that's what it deserves. It's amazing how that helps greatly. There is a book that I wanted to show you, by the way, which I have behind me. Let's have a look at this book. It's mighty, mighty, mighty heavy. Look at this book I've got here. It's called, can you see that? It's the book about Steve Waugh, The Spirit of Cricket India. It's an amazing book. It's extremely heavy. Look how thick it is. It's like a brick, and it's such a brick of a book, and it has some amazing photos. I want to show you a bit about it. So in the book, you have the inside cover. I'm just opening it up for us here now. I'm very lucky to have had the book signed by Steve Waugh himself. To Norman, best wishes. It's a very good book. It has amazing photographs. Let me just find some of the photos. Look at this. This is a scene in India of people playing cricket. All these photos were taken by Steve Waugh and the people that are around him. He loves taking photographs. There's been some amazing photographs. Look at this. Amazing backdrop of cricket virtually on sand. Can you see that? It's amazing, amazing photograph. Quite incredible. See that? Amazing. Really impressed by this. I'll just try and show you some more. Well, this is in the Himalaya mountains, as you would see, as you guys would know better than anyone, the amazing sights of the Himalayas. It's quite incredible. It's a very, very, very special situation, and I do appreciate all of the work that you guys do, and I'm very appreciative of the support you give me. Vinod Raj, have you just done something quite? You've given a super sticker. That's amazing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's more than welcome for you to do what you've done. Is the book where Steve Waugh says you're a great batsman? That's page 150 there, Barnsley boy, Richard Vernon. It says, yeah, clearly it's written now. I can't get it just now, but there's a page there. Pictures of me coming out of your ears. And by the way, Richard Vernon, you must be so impressed with Chris. He scored 53 runs. You said to me he scored a 6 to start his innings and ended with a 6 on the hallowed turf of Lords, representing the MCC. You can't get any better than that. I've got the video. As I said earlier, I'll put a video on specifically about the one he's walking onto the pitch and the one about him playing. I might put them on separately because putting them together a bit mesh, but I'm going to get the likes of Sebastian to help out as well. So Amaresh, let's have a look what you've said here. I saw a video around the book by Steve. He's an amazing man. Now he'll be some coach. He's a very good mentor. I'm not sure whether it's the coach specifically, but more of a mentor is his role, where he can really help people come a long way. So there's a show. Now, what's this about a showdown? You're talking about a showdown where Chris and I get together. We already have done that, but we'll do it again. We didn't do it at Laws. We did it at another ground. The MCC has it under their control, but we'll attempt to get a showdown happening. Tell me more what you mean by showdown, Bastard Boy. Hi, can you let us know who's your favourite Australian player and why? Look, Hardy, my favourite Australian player, look, I'm a cricket tragic. It has to be Sir Donald Bradman. Sir Donald Bradman has to be my favourite because of the way he did things, the time he did things, quite incredible. And back then also Neil Harvey, who is still alive. We've got some footage of Neil and I together. Neil Harvey is somebody that played with Bradman in the 1948 Invincibles tour. Amazing player, amazing person. He was also selected, not unlike what David Gravely has done. Selected Jeff Thompson, Dennis Lilly, the Chappells. Incredible impact. They're two of my favourites. When I come to more modern eras in Australian cricket, Adam Gilchrist, because of his attitude, magnificent player. One of the best keepers ever, one of the best batter keepers ever, as an all-rounder you would call it. Rishabh Pant is up there and will be beyond that, I think, as well. Not doubting that. I like Greg Chappell, the way he batted. He batted very elegantly. I also like Ian Chappell as the captain. I thought he was magnificent. I would argue Steve Orr was a great captain. Alan Border was particularly good. A very, very good captain. Steve Smith, the Warner gate, the so-called sandpaper gate, is always going to ruin him. Even that was more of a problem with the likes of Warner than Smith. Smith still was the captain at the time and takes a lot of responsibility. I have a lot of time for Simon Kadich as a player, as a person, and he's now in their coaching role with RCB, which is a major foil for them. Master Boy Norman challenges Chris to a one-over challenge. Norman's Dibby Dollars will take him by surprise. You betcha. I'll get Chris. I'll have this beautiful little ball that just dips and takes away, and Chris will think he's going to play me. He'll either jump down the wicket and try and smash me, and they'll get stumped, or he'll nick it to the keeper. I'll get him. I'm clever. I'm a clever bowler. Don't worry. I'll outthink Chris. Chris will have this ridiculous level of confidence, and I'll get him. Thank you, Norman. Okay. What's your favourite IPL team? DP29. I've said earlier, DP29, that my favourite team is I'm very partial to Kolkata Knight Riders, especially over the years when Simon Kadich was involved in particular. I'm very close to them, and obviously my relationship with the likes of Debashis and Kuntal and Boria and a whole range of people from India. I'm very much a Kolkata Knight Riders fan. Bit partial to Mumbai Indians, but I think Delhi Capitals is a team that will win. Even though they had a pretty unfortunate loss today, I think they're going to win the match. I think the series, that is. I think they're due. They come last, third, second. Only one other place to go next first. All right, I'm supporting RCB. Well, I mean, RCB certainly deserve it. They've played a lot of seasons with great players, but not necessarily come up with the bacon. Are they a team of champions or a champion team is the question I always have. BCCI have announced, what did BCCI announce? BCCI have announced central contracts. Kohli, Rowett and Bumrah get 8 double plus. Overall, 28 players handed contracts. Amaresh, send me the link, please, in the commentary of that one. I want to know more about that. Okay. I think that's something I do want to know. I'm just going to circulate some commentary here. Chris Furness says the first official county champ match was in 1890. Oh, hello. I've got some comments here from Chris. Chris is actually making comments on our joint discussion back at just before 6 p.m. He should join for 5 minutes. We should get him to join. Okay. Isn't David Gravely superb? Bastard Boy, David Gravely is amazing. What a lovely man. He's got so many great stories and he's willing to share them. the intimacy of an Elton John moment during. I'm going to actually try to upload that video as well. I should do that. I think same Delhi or Rajasthan. Rajasthan, no. Even though they won today, I don't think they're going to do well. Rabada getting hit for 2 6 and 9 to change the game. Yeah, that was a bit of a shock. But Rabada has been in lockdown, so I've got no qualms about Rabada. He'll get even better. Don't worry about that. I hope RCB wins. Now, elbow cough, elbow cough, elbow cough. Okay, the reality is RCB deserve to be up there. They'll be one of the top 3 teams with Delhi Capitals and Mumbai Indians. I still maintain that. RCB look the strongest they've ever looked. Yeah, I think they do, especially with Maxwell on the side. I think there's a pretty good balance there. It's going to be a 30-man Indian extended squad to England, and there will be multiple interest squad warm-up matches before World Test Championship final. Great. So, Ismooks, has that been announced, that team? Please let me know. I haven't. I've been on air, so I haven't actually seen what's going on. So let me have a look. And India have announced test squads. Okay, I'm not seeing that anywhere. All right, got a new conversation here. Where are you from? Where am I from? I'm actually in Coogee, in Sydney, Australia. So Coogee Beach is just around the corner here, in Sydney, Australia. Maybe 7 k's from the main part of the city, and probably about 4 kilometres from the Sydney cricket ground. Very, very, very close to Sydney cricket ground. I can literally walk there. What do I think of Parag's underball? Is it legal? No. I think that needs to be reviewed, and they need to have a good look at what happened there. I don't believe it was legal at all. What do you guys think? Now, Barnstead boy, the fact that you're online, why isn't Chris Vernon online? Get Chris online. I'm happy to talk to Chris, even though it's late. We've got a lot of people still watching. We can get him involved if he wants to. So I'll be putting the video up. I'll be putting up the video separately. And I'm also going to find out one about David Gravely. I might put his YouTube one on as well. So that's all going to happen. All right, guys. So the squad is not announced yet. Okay. All right, I thought it might have been announced. So, guys, if you're not going to ask me more questions, I'm going to have to. So it's not. So you're not home yet? I came late today. Where have you been? Barnstead, long drive back. So Barnstead boy, are you in the car? Are you in the car at the moment and watching this? And is Chris driving? What's going on here? Who's driving, you or Chris? And why is it a long drive back? Is it a long drive to Kent? Just let me know, Barnstead, what's going on? Are you driving? I hope you're not driving because you're texting. Major points. Kohli and Chahal dropped to C grade. Chahal isn't playing well. Kohli's been stuffed around all year. He's been stuffed around so badly. The guy, no wonder he's disillusioned. He should be disillusioned. He's not been given a fair go. There's a lot to be said about that whole thing. Kohli, going back to Australia, did a lot of bench warming, a lot of bowling, and then didn't play games. It eventually takes its toll on you. I'm afraid you eventually lose your mental state. You're not able to play for teams. You're basically in nets behind the scenes, hanging around, which you've got to be, but perhaps not as long as that. So Chris is not home yet, but you're home, basketball. So Chris is driving because he's just texted before, at least to the WhatsApp group. Did he come home? Did he drive? Did Chris drive home, or is he in a vehicle with other people? So back to batting depth with Tucker. Shardul Tucker, he deserves to be there. It's an over 2-hour drive back from Lords to home. It's quite a way. I didn't think it was quite that far. So Pandya has been upgraded to an A contract, and Tucker he's B. Okay. So Shardul has got up to a B. Right. 80 points. Colin Cho dropped to C grade. Well, they're still on the squad though, aren't they? So there's not a complete loss. I still think that's pretty good. But they've got so many good players now. It's a bit hard to fathom what they're going to do. It's such a hard one to work out. It's really, really, really hard. It's very disappointing. Not disappointing. It's incredibly buoyant. But as an individual cricketer in India, you'll be a little disappointed because you're going to struggle to keep your spot. So he's struggling is what he should be texting. Well, he stopped somewhere. He sent a screenshot of a Twitter post. So Ismail saying, Chris might charge more for his appearances now. I think we've got an arrangement there that's fine. Shubman and Siraj handed their first contracts. Well, Shubman Gill deserves one. Mohammad Siraj also deserves one and will be a mainstay. Those two names, Shubman Gill and Siraj, will be there for 10 years, and including Rishabh Pant as well. Certainly, they'll be there and with bells on. And it's an amazing squad to have such depth. Quite amazing. All right, guys, we might consider. Well, we've got more people there. If you ask me questions, I'll stay on longer. Hi, Norman, can you do a video chat with a fan? Of course. Angel Ingles got you to something that Shubman's got a bad strike rate. Well, his test cricket is beyond reproach. He batted fantastically in the series. Had pivotal innings in that fourth test, the fourth innings of the match. Certainly did. We'll be doing audio. If you want to be on the show as a fan guest, let me know. So Barnstead boy is telling me, Norman, a Barnstead CC legend, cricket club legend, passed away recently. I only found out today, which is rather sad. His name is Mike Carver, a great man. So rest in peace, Mike Carver. This is Norman Koshnak on behalf of the Vernon family, wishing you to be able to have a fulfilling life beyond the earth. Rest in peace, Mike Carver. Now, round two certainly has flipped around with the teams. It's a very inconsistent form, but it's expected. I'm getting used to this situation with IPL over the years. It's certainly hard to predict what's going on in the early matches. As we know, Mumbai Indians back, I think it's 14, lost their first 5. I'll be writing them off big time, but they end up winning the competition. That's quite amazing. Mumbai beating KKR and RR beating TC. Mumbai beating KKR was KKR's fault. And RR beating DC was also DC's fault. I don't know whether the other way around. They both were very much unexpected. Certainly was. Morgan, the best captain, Kohli, the worst. No, I don't agree with that. Morgan is a good captain, yes, no doubt. But Kohli is a great captain as well. Too much pressure has been placed on him. He's got a great band of men in the test arena. Rahane, Pujara, Rohit Sharma around him, certainly. In the shorter format, you might argue that he might have other captains in there, but he's still a great captain. He revolutionised Indian cricket, made the fear factor go away in the series not long ago in Australia, and from 2 years back when they first beat us quite convincingly. All right, guys, I think I'm going to have to call it quits there. I think we've gone long enough. This is Norman Koshnak here for Eyes on Cricket. Thank you very much, guys, for maintaining contact. Please, as I said to you, these videos, subscribe, share, encourage people to subscribe. Don't just say, have a look at the video. Say, how about you subscribe and get these coming to you? It's a great way to be. All right. Do you think his captaincy is too many sides? His captaincy too many sides? Yes, he probably is. 3 formats is a pretty heavy workload, but he's still doing a good enough job to be doing all 3. All right, guys. Thanks, Barnstead boy. Well done, Chris Vernon. 53 on the MCG. Was he not out or was he out? Barnstead, was he out for 53 or was he not out for 53? Hitting a 6 to start with and a 6 to finish. Quite an incredible story about good old Chris Vernon on Lords. Video evidence will be coming very shortly. All right. So we'll see each other tomorrow. All the best, guys. This is Norman Koshnak from Eyes on Cricket signing off. All the best. And then Barnstead boy says that Chris Vernon was out for 53. I have to ask the question. He opened the batting. He got out 53. How did he get out? What was the dismissal? Or shall I let Chris tell me that? Quickly tell me, Barnstead boy. How did he get out? Just waiting on Barnstead boy's response before I say goodbye. Looks like we might have to wait for Chris to tell me tomorrow. No, LBW is sweeping. So Chris Burnham was out. LBW is sweeping. Fantastic. All right, guys, that's enough from me. Talk to you again tomorrow with a number of videos. Norman Koshnik signing off from Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koshnik. Angel Ingles having how many balls? We don't know. We'll find out. Talk to you soon.